Hi beautiful people, welcome back to another interesting tutorial. In this video I'm going to show you how to draft a palazzo jumpsuit. This video is highly detailed. You learn how to make a pocket cover, a pocket facing, and you also learn how to finish the upper bodies of your palazzo. Please, when you're done, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be making use of this measurements here to draft the trousers pattern for the jumpsuits we are making in this video. Okay, now I'll be working with 24, hips 24, thigh 16, round knee 13, round ankle 11, and the trousers length 23 inches. Now let's draft. Here on my pattern paper I already have two border lines, one border line here and one border line here. From the starting line here, this also represents the waistline. Okay, from the starting line here I'm going to bring down my crotch line. So in order for me to get my crotch line, I'll be dividing my hip measurement by 3. Because this is for a jumpsuit, that is why I'm dividing it by 3. If it's for a basic trousers, in order to get your crotch depth, we are dividing our hip by 4. Okay, 24 divided by 3 gives me 8 inches. So I'm going to come down here and mark my 8 inches. Also get my trousers length. The length I'm working with is length 23 and mark 23 inches. Because this is a pattern drafting class, I'm not going to be adding sewing allowance yet. When I'm done and I'm cutting out on fabric, that is when I'll add my sewing allowance. Okay, 23. Now in order for me to get my knee line, I'll come from here, from the crotch line. Let's label this crotch line. This is my waistline and this is my hem line. Okay, so from the crotch line I'll come down to the hem line. This is 15 and divide it into 2. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. From this 7.5 I'm going to come up by 1.5. So that is my, this is almost 6. It's almost 6. So that is my knee line. Now we are making progress. In order for me to finish up this area, I'm going to take my thigh measurement. The thigh I'm working with is 16 inches and I'm going to divide it into 2. 16 divided by 2 gives me 8 inches. Okay, this is 8. Then from that 8 inches mark, I'm going to come in by 2 inches. Yes, okay, this is 6 inches. So this 6 inches, I'm going to bring it here. You connect. Now, in order for me to get my crotch curve, this curve here, that curve, I'll come up by 2 inches. This is my 8-inch mark and this is 2 inches, and I'll bring out the curve. Okay, I'll bring out my crotch curve. Now I have my crotch curve. Because I want to make this jumpsuit into a palazzo, I'll be needing a dart here. A child's clothes does not necessarily need a dart, but because I want to use the dart to bring out a palazzo pattern, that is why I'll be including the dart here. Okay, so because I want a dart, my waist already is complete. 24 divided by 4 gives me 6, which I already have here. But because I want to include a dart, I'll come in and add 1 inch. Okay, this is my 1 inch and I'll divide it into 2. I'll be closing up the dart. I won't be needing the dart. So I'll mark my ½ inch on both sides down. Okay, from here I'll connect it, blend it. I'll come up by 2 inches just to blend it. Okay, yes, I want to connect this to bring out a palazzo pattern. Just continue to watch what I'm doing. Now I'll come to my knee line and input my knee measurement. The round knee I'm working with is 13 inches. So now we are going to do two-way shaping. In order to avoid the side seam of your trousers shifting to the front, because that's a major problem some people come across when they are making trousers. We are going to do two-way shaping now. Now I'll come here on my crotch line. I have 8 inches, right? Then I'll divide my 8 inches into 2 to give me 4. This gives me 4. So that 4 inches is what I'll bring straight down. I'll mark it on my knee line, and I'll also mark it on my hem line and roll it into a straight line. So by this, I'll be doing two-way shaping in order to avoid the side seam from shifting to the front. Okay, now this is my knee area. I'll be inputting my knee measurement, which is 13 divided by 2. 13 inches is the knee measurement. You divide it into 2 to give you 6.5. It is that 6.5 that you will now share equally between these two lines. So just let's divide 6.5 into 2 so that we can share it. So now I'm sharing it equally. This is 6.5. So from here to here, give me 6.5 with equal measurements. Also, because this is going to be changed into a palazzo trousers, I'm just going to bring this measurement down to the ankle. But if you want your ankle to be shaped, just bring in your ankle measurement, which is 11 inches, divide into 2, 5.5. You have something like so, and you share in between. Okay, but because I want this into a palazzo pattern, I'll be bringing this 6.5 down. Okay, that's what I'll be doing, and I'll share it like I did here. So I'll roll this into a straight line. I'll roll this also into a straight line. I'll finish this side. We are still going to close this up, okay? Then this one, I'll bring in my curve in order to finish it up. Then, because of what I said, I'm going to join this line I have. I'll join it. I'll put it here. Okay. Then I'll come down with my dart. I'll come down by 3 inches and connect my darts. I'll come. Okay. But before I split this line open in order to form my palazzo, I'm going to use this pattern to cut the back pattern. I'll cut this out now and use it to cut the back pattern. In order to cut the back pattern, get a new pattern paper and place the front pattern on it like so. So I've done that and I've pinned it down. Now the next thing to do is come to your crotch line here and measure 2.5 like so, 2.5 like so. Then on the knee line, come here and mark 2 inches. On the waistline here, come here and also you mark 2 inches. And from that 2 inches, you also come up by 2 inches. Okay, now I'm going to join everything together. But before that, on the hemline, you come here and mark 1.5 inch. Okay, then I'll roll that into a straight line, the hemline like so. The nail line, roll it into a straight line. And also, you complete your markings by marking that 2 inches down on the crotch line like so. Then you complete your curve. This is how you do it. You connect all these lines, and when you get to this area, you come then you complete your, you should use a ruler please. Okay, use a curve, just get a curve, try and blend. So you complete your, here is 2.5. Now on the waist area, I came out by 2 inches here, and I also went up by 2 inches. Okay, I went up by 2 inches and I went out by 2 inches. So from that 2 inches, this 2 inches, you connect it back to the waistline here. Okay, so this will represent the center back. The center back of a trousers is higher than the center front. Now we are going to divide this into two, also divide into two, also like this, in order for us to get the midpoint so as to input our dart. Now I'm going to roll this so that I can bring out the crease line, so that it will show at the back. I want the crease line to show at the back. They have the same crease line. Bring out my 1 inch. Okay, we added 1 inch here, so I have to bring out the 1 inch dart. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to complete this. Yes, complete this like so. Bring my curve over here and bring it out, this curve. The back trousers is complete. I'll remove this front pattern now. So this is the crease line for the back pattern. Then I'll try and match it up. Okay, it's matching up with this. Now the next thing to do, I'll bring out the dart leg here. This is 3 inches. You mark 3 inches down and roll it into a straight line. Then we bring out the palazzo pattern. See what we're going to do now. What we are going to do next is we are going to cut through. We cut through this pattern and close this up. So you stop here and you close up your dart. You close up your dart like this. Bring this from here, bring it here. Once I close up my dart, it will open this up. Can you see? So I formed my palazzo like so, and this is my front pattern. I'll do the same thing. Okay, I'll cut it open. So I'll bring this dart leg. So I've closed up my dart. Okay, can you see what happens when you close up your dart? This is what happens when you close up your dart. It opens the pattern up. Feel free to follow this method when you're cutting your jumpsuit too. So now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to cut this pattern out on the fabric. I've placed my pattern on the fabric. This is the front pattern and I'm going to cut it out. No additional sewing allowance except for hemming allowance over here. When we were cutting, we didn't add hemming allowance, and this is because all the sewing allowance has been added. They have been added to the back pattern. That's why we added those inches in front of the trousers. Okay, so there's no sewing allowance for the front pattern. I'm going to be using 1 inch to hem this. Okay, I'll mark my 1 inch. I'll mark it out. Okay, here I'll just try and here is curved. Just try and use your chalk to blend this area out. So I'll follow that. This is 1 inch. And now for this side, this side is bent because it has been opened up. So just try and use your free hand to adjust it and make it straight. Okay, so that you don't cut a bent something. And we are done. I'm going to cut it out like so. We are done, and I'll cut it out. Be adding half inch, yes, half inch joining allowance, okay, so that will not reduce the length of our jumpsuits. So I need half inch allowance here to join it to the basic bodice. The allowance for joining to my basic bodice. Just follow these steps and you get what I'm saying. You get the same results. So I have my front pattern here. So this is a palazzo. Okay, beautiful. I'll bring in my back pattern and also cut it out. Here is my back pattern. I've gone ahead to add my sewing allowance half inch to the waist, and also I've added my hemming allowance over here. I've also blended this side like I said, like I did for the front pattern. And right now I'm going to cut it out. There's also no sewing allowance over here because everything has been added while we were drafting the pattern. So I'm going to cut out like so. Lest I forget, this jumpsuit has a pocket. Now I want to teach you how to cut your pocket cover and your pocket facing. Okay, all you have to do is bring out a fabric and fold it into two like so, because we'll be cutting for the two sides of the pocket once. And measure 4 inches because this is for a child. Just measure 4 inches out like so by 9 inches. Then bring out the front part of your pocket because the pocket usually sits in the front. Bring it out like so and place it on that 4-inch mark. Okay, place it on the 4 inches mark like so, and cut it out because we want to align the side of our pocket with the side of our front pattern. Cut out. Okay, you cut it out. Once you've cut it out, you're going to shaping this area too because the waistline must align. The waistline of the pocket must align with this. Now I'm done cutting out. What you're going to do next is bring this out like so, and shaping this. You can just shaping it like this. If you want a curved pocket, you can shaping it, or you can even leave it, but let's just shaping it. I'll still separate this into two because it's for both. Now this is my pocket cover. In order to cut my pocket facing, I have another double fabric here folded into two. I'll place this and cut out the same pattern. So we have two of these. Now what you do is take a pair, any of the pair, and bring it here. So I'll keep this aside and I'll work on this pair. Bring it here and place this, the front pattern of my trousers that I have earlier, and place it aligning both. Make sure both are aligned together. Place it like so. Place it like so. Now this is my pocket facing. I want to cut the pocket facing and the side of the pocket. I'm cutting them together. Come in here by 1 inch. Come down by 4.5 and match it to this 1 inch. I want it slightly larger. Okay, and just connect. When I'm done connecting, I'll cut it out. Okay, I'll cut it out like this. I have my side seam here, and this is my pocket facing, and my pocket cover. So this is how it's going to look on it. Okay, this is what we have. So when we are sewing, you understand better. I'll show you how to sew it. So I'll bring the second part of my front and also cut out the side seam. Make sure you are cutting out the side, okay? Do not cut on the center front. Now I'm gonna head to cut out my bodies using the basic bodice pattern. If you don't know how to draft your basic bodies, there's a detailed tutorial on how to draft the basic bodies on this channel. Kindly do well to check the video out. The link to the video will be placed in the description box, so you can just go ahead and check it out. So I have my fabric and my lining here, and also for the back my fabric and my lining. And here I also have this strip of 40 inches. So I have 40 inches. This is 40 inches if you're male, 40 inches by 4.5. So I'll be using it to design, to make pleats on the front of the front pattern. I'll be placing it here to make a pleated design. And also I also have this strip. This strip is 25 inches by 4 inches. Okay, I'll also be using it to make pleated design here. Now I have my belt. Here is the belt, because the jumpsuit will have a belt. This is 22 inches by, I have 4 inches here, and I also have 2.5 inches here. Okay, now for the front design, I'll bring in my chalk. First and foremost, there's a design in front. As you can see in the beginning of the video, the design comes like this, and like this. I'll get the center point, the midpoint of this here, and also get the midpoints here. Now I'll bring in my chalk. I'll come down from the midpoint. I want it to intersect around 4 inches here. So I'll bring in my curved ruler. You can also use your freehand, but I like to use my curved ruler. So I want it to come like so from here, from the midpoint here. It's going to come and it's going to stop around here. Then for the smaller portion here, I also get the midpoint and allow it to intersect. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'll allow it to intersect in a curved pattern like so. Yes, so this is what I want to have in the front. So I'll bring in my pattern like this, and I'll pleat. I'll have my pleat here. I'll pleat this. This is what I'll be pleating first. I'll place this here. Okay, and I'll also go ahead when I'm done, and I'll place this on it like so. I'll also pleat it here. Okay, I'll place this on it like so. So that is what I want to have here. When I'm done, I'll show you. Then I'll bring in my bias. When I'm done pleating, I'll bring in my bias and also use my bias to, okay, to tape this side down to form a design. Yes, that's what I basically want to do. So for the sleeve, we'll be doing a cap sleeve. Just fold your fabric into 4 like so, because we want to cut both lining. I want to use this fabric for both the lining and the main fabric. So just come here and mark 4.5 inches and come up by 5 inches. Okay, cap sleeve is very easy to draft. So from here, just use your free hand to connect from here to here like so with a curve, and that's all. That's how you draw your cap sleeve for a child. So I'll be using this to cut the second sleeve. So I've gone ahead to pleat this in front like so, and it's looking so neat. Now the next thing I'll be doing right now is I'll bring my back piece and join it to the front piece on the shoulder like this. So I'll be joining fabric to fabric and lining to lining separately. I'll join it on the shoulder like this to make it O, and I'll also do the same thing for the lining. I'll go ahead, here is the front, I'll join it to the back like this on the shoulder. Okay, I'll do that and show you what it looks like. So now I've gone ahead to join both the front and back on the shoulder, and I've also done the same thing on the lining. Now the next thing to do is to fix my sleeve. I've also gone ahead to, finish up the sleeve. Now I'll come in from here. This is the side seam. Let me open this up like so. I'll come in from here. I have 1.5-inch sewing allowance here because I'll be using the lining to turn it, so I'll be left with 1 inch. So I have 1.5. Then I'll also come up by 1 inch and fix my cap sleeve. We are fixing cap sleeve. This is what I'm going to do on the sewing machine. I'll start sewing from, this is 2.5 inch. Okay, 1.5 and 1, that's 2.5. Then I'll start sewing from here. When I get to somewhere around here, I'll pleat this here. This is my center of the sleeve, and I'll match it with the shoulder line here. I'll pleat this. I'll also do the same thing for this side. Okay, the 2.5 inch that I've marked there, I also come here and mark it. Okay, I'll mark 2.5. I'll mark my 2.5 inch like so. I've marked the 2.5. Yes, my 2.5. So I'm going to sew my sleeve from here. Okay, like I'm sewing my sleeve like this. Yes, this is what I'll do. When I get to somewhere around here, I'll make sure I pleat it and match. There's a notch here, and match this with the center, match the shoulder line here with the center of my sleeve. I'll also pleat it. Okay, I'll also pleat this and sew it till I get to the 2.5 mark here, and I'll have something like this. Okay, that is what I'm going to do. I'll fix this sleeve and fix this sleeve, and I'll show you what it looks like. Now I've gone ahead to fix my sleeve, and here is what I have. Okay, I have my cap sleeve like this. So the next thing to do, this is the second sleeve. Can you see how it looks like? The next thing to do is to fix the lining. Okay, I'll bring in my lining. Okay, then I'll go ahead and use the lining to turn the neckline. Place it like this, like so, and use it to turn the neckline. Okay, you sew it round like so. You sew it round like so, and when you're done sewing the neckline, you also top stitch. When you top stitch it, you're done with the neckline. Then you go ahead and also finish the armhole area. Okay, and how do you finish the armhole area? You bring this in, you bring the sleeve in and flatten this out. That's after you've joined the neckline. You bring the sleeve in, flatten it out, and you match up the shoulder line. Okay, match it up like so and sew it down. You also sew it down, and be careful when you're sewing so that you don't sew in your sleeve. Okay, you sew it down, just sew it down like so. Sew it down. You do the same thing for this other side. Sew it now, and I'll show you what it looks like. I've also gone ahead to sew my belt. Okay, this is what I have here. I've gone ahead to finish the neckline area, and I've also finished the armhole area. Okay, as you can see, now I'm going to bring out the back through the front shoulder. That's what you're going to do. So you just come in here, bring the lining up like this, and try as much as possible to pull it out. Just pull it out using the sleeve. Okay, this is a method of finishing the armhole area perfectly. Okay, Now this is what I have. I've also finished the zip area for the back. Can you see? So I've turned it with the lining. The armhole area already turned. So this is what I have. Okay. Now I will do the same thing for this side. I'll come in through the shoulder line and start pulling. You hold the sleeve and use it to pull so it will come out easily. Okay, so I'll go ahead and press this down. This is what I have. Okay, I'll go ahead and press it down. I've gone ahead to press this down and it's looking so beautiful now. So I have the front and I have the back here. The next thing we're going to do, I've also gone ahead to use the lining to turn the sides. Okay, the side seam of both the front and the back. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is we're going to bring the back to the front like this and join the two sides together. Join it on the side seam. Okay, this is what we are going to do. So the back is here and I'm going to go to the sewing machine right now and sew this on 1 inch. Okay, I'm left with 1 inch because I've used ½ inch to join the lining and the fabric over here. So I'll go to the sewing machine and use 1 inch to sew it down. Then I'll also fix my belt. I'll bring my belt right now. I've also gone ahead, I've pressed it down, bring it inside like this and leave. So it's, you place your belt like this, leaving ½ inch. Do not forget to leave ½ inch. Then you go to the sewing machine, bring this like this, match the sides up and sew on 1 inch down. I'll do the same thing for the other side. Now I've joined the two sides together and this is what I have. Okay, the upper part of this jumpsuit is ready. Okay, and I'll keep this aside. Then let's work on the trousers. The palazzo trousers. The first thing we are going to do here is I'm going to finish up the pockets. Now I told you, like we cut out earlier, we have the pocket facing and the pocket cover. Okay, now what I'll do now is I'll bring in my pocket facing. The pocket facing is just to finish this side up. I'll place it on this like this and I'll go and sew it down on ½ inch. So I've gone ahead to face here. Okay, I've used the pocket facing to face it. The next thing I'll do is I'll bring in my pocket cover. Okay, this is my pocket cover and I'll fix it like so. I'll bring this here, and I'll go ahead to the sewing machine and join this down from here. I'll join it from here, okay, to here, okay, and I'll stop my joining here. When I'm done joining it, I'll bring it back together and just use my machine to sew this down. Okay, the pocket is ready. Okay, I'm gonna ahead to join this down like I said, and also I joined it on the waistline here. I'll repeat this same process for the other side of the trousers. So I'm done with the pocket and this is what it looks like. I've done both sides. Okay, and now this is how the back looks like. Just make sure you sedge yours, get a serger and sedge it over here. The next thing to do is you place the side of the back pattern for this part, place it here and you sew on 1 inch, on ½ inch, sorry, we have ½ inch sewing allowance, so on ½ inch, sew it down. Okay, this is what you do, you sew it down because we want to finish up the hemline, and you repeat the same process for the other side. Bring out the back pattern and sew it down on the side. Okay, sew it down on ½ inch. I'll do that and show you what it looks like I said earlier. So I've gone ahead to join the sides and I've also hemmed the hemline. Okay, I've turned the hemline and this is what I have. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the center front of both like this. Okay, this is the center front. Okay, I'll bring in my second one, place it like this on the center front because I want to join this side together. I've joined the center front. Okay, on the center back you can come down by, let's say this is a jumpsuit. Okay, you need enough space for wearing. You can come down by like 6 or 7. Let's do 6.5. Let's do 6.5. Come down by 6.5, and on that 6.5 come in by 1 inch. Okay, we'll be using 1 inch on the, because we'll be fixing this side. There's a zip at the back of the jumpsuit. Okay, so the zip, there's 1 inch allowance for zip here. Bring in 1 inch and sew it down. Okay, I've gone ahead to join what I described the other time. So I've joined it here, leaving 1 inch for zipper. And the thing that we're going to do next is we're going to bring the two crotch together like this on the crotch line and sew from one end of the trouser, like this, to the other end of the trouser. Okay, you might notice that the back crotch is sort of longer by this side. There's no problem, you can come in here and adjust like I did here. Okay, so that you can have equal length. So you sew from one end to the other. When I'm done, I'll show you what it looks like. I've gone ahead to join the palazzo trousers together. Okay, as you can see, we have a very beautiful palazzo here with a pocket. Okay, a pocket is beautiful and neatly sewn with the zipper allowance at the back also here. Now the next thing to do is to bring in the front like so. Okay, bring in the front, notch the center front here, and you match it up together like so, and you sew it down in order to complete our jumpsuit. You sew it down like so. Sew everything together. Now before you sew it down, make sure what you have on the waist for the upper bodies is also what you have on the waist for the trousers. If they are not equal, kindly do the alteration and make sure the measurement you have on here is also the same measurement you have here, so that it will sit perfectly and it will not stress you. The joining will not stress you. Now I've gone ahead and I've done the same. When I measured mine, everything was measuring perfectly. So I'll go ahead to the sewing machine and join it down like I've described, the center front of the palazzo to the center front of the upper bodies. So I've joined both together and this is what I have. I'll go ahead and fix my zip. Okay, can you see both are matching over here? I'll fix my zip on 1 inch using 1 inch. Okay, this is what I have on both sides here. So I'll go ahead and fix the zip on 1 inch. I have gone ahead to fix the zip and this is what I have, neatly fixed and neatly sewn. So our jumpsuit is ready. Palazzo jumpsuit is ready